The gods sent the goddess Rista to rescue a world threatened by the demon lord, but Rista panicked because the world everyone gave her this time had a difficulty level of S, and the quest of the gods is to summon heroes on Earth to save the worlds threatened by the Demon King. Rista was having a headache choosing a hero when a profile suddenly hit her in the face, and she was surprised at the overwhelming stats of a young man named Seiya, so Rista quickly summoned when Seiya went to the god world to make him a hero. Having just seen Seiya's cool appearance, Rista was taken aback, but Rista regained his composure and explained to Seiya the reason he was summoned here. After being instructed by Rista, Seiya successfully opened her status, and Rista opened the portal to send Seiya to save the S-class world from the Demon Lord. However, Seiya insisted that he let him train for a while before going to save the world, and Rista was shocked to find that Seiya was suffering from an over-careful illness. While Seiya was training, Rista went to complain to the goddess Arya about him, but Arya advised Rista to respect the opinion of the hero she summoned. Rista had prepared some rice balls for Seiya to eat after training, but Seiya suspected that the hot rice was poisonous, so she had to try one first. Rista gave Seiya a bell to announce when he was ready, but he suspected the tomato was a ticking time bomb. 4 days later, Rista was overjoyed when he saw the notification bell ring, and as soon as he saw Seiya, Rista was so captivated by him that his nose was bleeding. Rista was surprised that Seiya could reach level 15 with just push-ups, and she quickly opened the portal to send Seiya to the other S-class world. The two of them had already teleported to the beginner town, but as soon as Seiya saw the people, he suspected that they were transformed by monsters. The two of them went to the weapon shop to buy Seiya some equipment, but Seiya insisted on buying 3 pieces of armor just in case the armor was damaged. After fully equipped with weapons, Seiya looked more like a hero, but Seiya felt that it was not enough, so he went to buy dozens of more healing potions. Just out of town, the two of them encountered a slime, and although slime was a weak monster, Seiya used all his strength to destroy it. Even after the slime was annihilated, he continued to strike to make sure it was really dead. Right after that, one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Demon King's army named Machina suddenly appeared, and she had anticipated the hero's arrival, so she came here to intercept them. But as soon as he saw her, Seiya left Rista behind. Seiya threw a bunch of smoke bombs at Rista's face to cut off Machina's tail, and he told Rista to open the portal and immediately return to the god world. As soon as he returned to the divine world, Rista was already lying on top of Seiya, but Seiya threw Rista aside because he needed more training to defeat Machina right now. 2 days later, Rista still hasn't seen Seiya make any move that he's ready, but Rista notices Machina attacking the town they went to before, and every 10 minutes she will execute someone if they don't show up. Rista rushed over to report it and urged Seiya to save the people, but Seiya refused because he hasn't finished his training yet. Seeing Seiya refuse to go, Rista thought he was a coward, and Rista deeply regretted summoning a hero like Seiya to save the world. But Seiya said that if he died, not only the town but the whole world would be ruled by the Demon Lord. Right after that, Seiya put on his armor ready to go to defeat Machina, and Rista was surprised to see that he had leveled up rapidly in such a short time. Seeing that it was too late to wait, Machina planned to execute everyone, and fortunately Seiya was there in time and used the wind slash to attack her. Machina was also surprised by Seiya's new strength after training, so Machina decided to go all out to fight him, and she used the demon's dark power to fight him. Transforms into a giant bull. Machina immediately rushed to attack Seiya, creating an extremely terrible explosion, but unexpectedly her punch was blocked by Seiya very lightly. As it turned out, Seiya had unlocked a skill that allowed him to create fake stats for himself, so Rista could only see his true stats by looking, and with his current stats maybe he must be 10 times stronger than Machina. Machina flew straight into the sky and created an orb of energy to destroy the whole town, but Seiya also unlocked the flying skill, so he jumped to stop her, and he put it to great use. The fire-fighting phoenix skill she had just learned to cut her down. As soon as he saw Seiya win, Rista lunged at him, but Seiya told him to stay away from her for fear of catching strange bacteria from her, and all the people of the town went out to show gratitude to Seiya. Even though Machina was dead, Seiya still wanted to destroy every single cell of hers, so he used monstrously powerful techniques to attack the ashes. The people begged Seiya to leave the town after their houses were destroyed, and Rista thought that Seiya was now ready to go to the next town, but unexpectedly he demanded to return to the god world to continue practicing. Rista came to complain to her older sister Arya about Seiya, because she always asked to return to the god world to train, and she wanted to complete this mission as soon as possible so that she could become a great goddess like Arya. The two were talking when Seiya suddenly burst in, and the goddess Arya couldn't hide her surprise as soon as she saw him. Seiya said that no matter how many push-ups he continued, he couldn't level up anymore, but he didn't want to fight monsters to level up because it was too risky, so Arya suggested he went to practice with the gods in the god world just to be safe. Soon after, Arya took Seiya to the sword god Cerseus to train with him, and he informed Seiya that his training was extremely harsh. On the first day, Cerseus informed that Seiya was a capable man, but that it was still a long way to match him. But by the second day, Cerseus was beginning to feel anxious about Seiya's progress. On the third day, Cerseus began to show stress as he could no longer fight Seiya. And on the fourth day, Rista suddenly saw Cerseus hiding on the beach because Seiya had made him train frantically even though he was 3 times stronger than him. As soon as he saw Seiya coming to find him, Cerseus showed great panic, and he threw his sword into the sea and vowed never to touch it again. The goddess Ishtar suddenly told Rista that the next town they were going to was in danger, so she wanted Rista and Seiya to go there quickly to save the people, and she arranged it as well. Gave Seiya 2 companions when they arrived in this city. Right after that, Rista panicked when he saw Seiya punching Cerseus in the face, and he was ready to go because he couldn't learn anything from Cerseus now. Having just reached the next town, the 2 of them saw the people fleeing, because this town was about to be attacked by an army of zombies of the Demon King. So Seiya went to buy some holy water capable of purifying them, but he asked to order up to 1,000 bottles. They went to the town's church to meet 2 companions arranged by Ishtar, and Seiya's 2 new comrades were a pair of dragons named Alulu and Mash respectively. Seiya poured holy water on the head of the church priest to see if he was a zombie or not, and it was true that he showed up as a zombie to everyone's surprise. Before that zombie had time to do anything, Seiya was cut into pieces by Seiya, but he still cleaned up the zombie's corpse and destroyed the whole church. Seiya also poured holy water on everyone to check if they were zombies or not, and he suddenly said that Alulu and Mash didn't need to come and support him. As a dragon person, Mash was extremely angry when he was disrespected like this by Seiya, and the guards informed that an army of 10,000 zombies was about to attack this town, so when he learned that Seiya was a hero, they knelt down begging him to save the town. Seiya said that he was going to kill those zombies without anyone's help, but Rista grew wings and immediately chased after him because he didn't want to be useless. However, no matter how hard he tried, Rista could not keep up with Seiya's speed, and seeing her flying too slow, Seiya returned to take Rista with him. Just as he thought he was going to be carried like a princess by Seiya, he pulled Rista away with such a speed that Rista's angel wings fell all over. Having just seen the zombie army, Seiya decided to destroy them with a powerful blow, and Rista was extremely surprised to see Seiya summon a giant meteorite. The meteorite crashed into the ground, causing all the zombies to evaporate in an instant, so Rista thought that with this power, Seiya alone would be enough to defeat the Demon King, but only used 10% of the strength that Seiya had claimed returned to rest. A few days later, Seiya successfully forged a platinum sword using fusion skill, and Rista was surprised to learn that Seiya used her hair to forge the sword. Soon after, a mysterious person sent a suspicious mirror to Seiya, and they were shocked to see Mash tied up through the mirror. As it turns out, one of the 4 heavenly kings named Deathmagla captured Mash to avenge his zombie army. And everyone now can only see through the mirror but can't come to Mash's rescue, but Seiya can still use a slash through space to take away one of Deathmagla's arms. While Deathmagla was panicking, Seiya asked Rista to take him back to the god world, and he asked Ishtar to take him right to Deathmagla's lair to rescue Mash. As soon as he arrived, Seiya shot Deathmagla a giant fireball, but Deathmagla remained unharmed thanks to a protective film that resisted fire magic. Deathmagla summoned a high-level fire-type demon that made everyone extremely scared. Because Seiya's attribute was also fire-type, he was unable to defeat the demon, and only ice-type magic attacks could work against it. However, Seiya still charged at the demon with a powerful shockwave, and he suddenly unleashed a fist that froze Deathmagla's demon. As it turned out, Seiya had forged a magic bracelet that allowed its wearer to use the attribute of ice, and he even forged a bunch of rings with all sorts of elements from thunder to rock. Right after that, Seiya smashed Deathmagla's demon into pieces with a single blow, and he unleashed a host of skills to defeat Deathmagla. After returning to the inn to rest, Mash realized Seiya's true strength, and Seiya decided to let these 2 children carry the luggage for him, but the 2 of them were very happy. Glad to be with a strong hero like him. Rista was about to tell everyone to go to the next town when Seiya asked to go back to the god world, and this time Seiya wanted to find someone to train Mash along with Alulu. Rista was surprised to see the sword god Cerseus learning how to make cakes, and he decided to give up on swordsmanship after being beaten to death by Seiya. As soon as Seiya heard about the training, Circeus panicked, but this time Seiya wanted to ask him to train Mash in swordsmanship, and when he knew that Mash was weaker than him, he quickly accepted. The two of them also went to the goddess Hestiaca to teach Alulu fire magic, and Seiya was brought by Arya to meet the war goddess Adanella to learn a sword combo technique, but she always looked as scary as ever. Ghosts are not godlike at all. However, after just one day, Adanella changed completely into a very cute girl, because Adanella didn't want Seiya to see her sloppy like before, so Rista realized that she was caught in the thunderbolt of Seiya's love. A few days later, everyone finally finished their training in the god world, and they were about to leave when Adanella suddenly ran over to ask to go with Seiya. Adanella even spent 5 hours late to make him a gado cake. However, Seiya coldly refused and said that Adanella's cake looked horrible. And when she was criticized by Seiya, Adanella went mad to attack everyone in the god world, but Seiya didn't care and urged everyone to quickly return to Earth. Alulu and Mash want to fight to test their skills after training, but Seiya summons a fire phoenix capable of automatically destroying all enemies, because he thinks that without fighting and still defeating the enemy is the best strategy. Right after that, following Mash's instructions, everyone went to find a dragon cave of the dragon race, and the dragon race now holds a holy sword capable of destroying the demon lord. Seiya used a series of swords to smash through the gate leading to the dragon's village without anyone having to open it, and when they entered, they were led to meet the dragon mother and queen of this place. The queen soon realized that Mash and Alulu were also members of the dragon race, so she used her powers to unlock Mash's ability to transform into a dragon. But everyone panicked when they learned that Alulu would have to sacrifice her life to turn into a holy sword for Seiya. The Dragon Queen said that Alulu was originally a holy sword that was reincarnated as a dragon, and that the Demon King had now succeeded in taking over 70% of the world, so she wanted Alulu to quickly become a holy sword to destroy it. Kill the Demon King. Alulu and the others were deeply saddened to learn that she was going to die, and that night, the dragons held a party in preparation for her sacrifice. Soon after, Alulu was brought to the front of a precipice to perform the ritual by jumping down, and upon dying her body would transform into a holy sword for Seiya to use. Seeing Alulu being forced to jump off the cliff, Mash tried to stop the ritual, but the queen ordered the soldiers to stop him and then urged Alulu to quickly jump off the cliff. However, Seiya suddenly went up to beat the guards to rescue Alulu, and he said that he didn't want a precious luggage carrier like Alulu to be turned into a holy sword, but the queen still wanted Alulu to be happy. "I gave my life to save this world." Was about to rush to rescue Alulu when Mash and Rista suddenly collapsed, because the queen had put poison in everyone's food before, but everyone was surprised when seeing Seiya unharmed. As it turned out, due to his careful nature, Seiya hadn't eaten anything since the party started, and he only ate food cooked by Rista. Immediately afterwards, the queen transformed into a complete dragon to attack Seiya along with Alulu, and normal weapons could not pierce her dragon scales, but Seiya prepared a dragon-slaying sword because he foresaw this. Seiya mortally wounded the queen with a single slash with her dragon-slaying sword, but before the ceremony could begin she hung Alulu a magic necklace, and that magic necklace would squeeze the girl's neck. To neutralize the magic of that necklace, Seiya would have to defeat the queen, and she used an absolute defensive skill against Seiya's attacks, so his sword combo he couldn't even pierce her scales. However, looking back, the queen was terrified because she was about to be pushed down the cliff by Seiya, so she had to transform back to attack him with her flames, but Seiya was unleashed 2 cross slashes to send her straight down the cliff. Alulu finally got rid of the magic necklace after the queen was defeated, and the queen's body turned into a very powerful-looking sword, so Seiya assumed it was the holy tree. The sword used to destroy the legendary demon lord. However, shortly after leaving Dragon's village, Rista privately told Seiya that she knew the sword was not a holy sword, but he deceived everyone just because he didn't want Alulu to sacrifice his life. Right after that, a group of human soldiers were already waiting for Seiya's group at the entrance of the cave, and their fortress held by female General Rosalie was now attacked by the Demon King's army, so they immediately went to the hero Seiya for help when he found out that he was here. Seiya and the others quickly flew to the battlefield to scout the enemy, and their enemy was a huge army of flies led by a fly general, but they were surprised to find out. The fly general has an extremely terrible movement speed. Besides, Rosalie's army was attacking the flies with bows and arrows, but the flies easily dodged and rushed to capture all of Rosalie's soldiers into the sky, and they released those poor soldiers, falling straight from above. However, the fly general withdrew because his purpose was to lure Seiya out, and Rosalie's army suffered heavy losses after the battle just now. As soon as she saw Seiya's hero party, Rosalie was overjoyed, and she invited everyone to return to the fortress to discuss strategy against the enemy together. Along the way, they learned that Rosalie's father is the king of this kingdom, and that he is equal in strength to a hero like Seiya, but for some reason he is unable to fight with them. Demon King can. Having just entered the meeting, Seiya was worried that the enemy was eavesdropping, but after the soldiers searched the entire castle, they found nothing. Rosalie had suggested that Seiya attack the fly's lair without any strategy, but he wanted to go back to the god world to practice more before going out to fight the flies. Seiya also believes that Rosalie's weak leadership has caused many soldiers to die in vain, so Rosalie angrily rushed up to slap him in the face, but he quickly slapped him back into Rosalie's face, causing it to swell. Rosalie was angry and growled after receiving a dozen slaps from Seiya. She even wanted to cut Seiya and not care about the hero anymore, so Rista had to quickly open the portal to send her. Seiya returned to the divine world. Seiya had told Rista to introduce him to a fire elf or a cannon or something to kill the flies, but in the god world there were only bows and arrows, not the kind of gods he asked. Rista asked a goddess named Midis to teach Seiya her archery skills, and with little instruction, Seiya was able to create a basic fire bow on his own. Rista brought Alulu and Mash to see Arya to ask her to train them, and she even informed Rista that Adanella had gone insane after being rejected by Seiya. Right after that, Rista just went to the forest to see Seiya's training situation when Adanella followed her, and Adanella wanted to stab Seiya to death in revenge for rejecting her feelings before, but was only met by Seiya a pat on the head, and Adanella quickly let go of everything. After training with Arya, Mash was able to transform part of her body into a dragon, while Alulu learned the ability to increase or decrease the speed of an object of her choice, and she can use this ability to speed up Seiya's battle when needed. Having just finished their training, everyone quickly returned to Rosalie's fortress, but they discovered that she had entered the fly's lair alone to fight them. Seiya planned that he would secretly shoot down the fly demon from a long distance, but one of Rosalie's generals suddenly spoke with a loud noise, so the flies discovered their location. They then quickly rushed to attack. Rosalie was also challenging the fly general at this time, and she was carried straight up to the sky to be dropped by him like the previous soldiers, so Seiya opened the way for Rista to fly straight into the sky to rescue her. Knowing that the hero with the goddess had appeared, the fly general pulled Rosalie into the sky, and he planned to throw Rosalie down at lightning speed so that Rista could not catch her. However, before he could throw, Seiya shot an arrow at the fly general, causing him to release Rosalie, and Rista used that opportunity to jump to catch her. The fly general knew that Seiya was hiding in the clouds to sneak a shot at him, and Seiya fired a barrage of arrows at the fly general, but he easily dodged. As soon as he saw Seiya, the fly general rushed to attack him at a dizzying speed, but a flock of magic birds appeared and pierced his stomach from behind. As it turned out, Seiya had expected that he might miss, so he learned the ability to turn an arrow into a bird to return to the target. Despite defeating the fly general, Rosalie still thinks that Seiya's fighting style is quite cowardly. Alulu and Mash wanted to exterminate the soldier flies to show their new strength, but Seiya fired like a machine gun, causing the flies to instantly disappear, and the two children were assigned to the task. Cleaning up the pile of bodies and then leaving a place for him to burn. Soon after, Rosalie informed everyone that there was a divine armor kept in the dwarven village, and that in order to defeat the demon lord, Seiya would have to acquire it. However, when they arrived, they found that the dwarves' village had been completely destroyed, and that one of the four great kings of the dwarf was the one who attacked the village. The dwarf summoned a monster and let it destroy the divine armor, because he believed that without the armor Seiya would not be able to defeat the demon lord. Right after that, he killed himself to summon a Grim Reaper, and when looking at that Grim Reaper, people couldn't read its power stats. Seiya tried attacking the god of death, but it quickly recovered on its own, so he told Rista to open the portal to send everyone to the god realm to hide. As soon as he reached the divine world, Seiya showed pain from getting a small scratch, but Seiya wanted to be full of blood all the time, so he asked Rista to heal him. Everyone thought they were safe, but the god of death chased them all the way to the gods, and the gods immediately appeared to fight the monster, but they were all killed. It's easily defeated. Seiya's group had no choice but to run away from the god of death's pursuit, and along the way, Seiya asked several gods to block it, but they were all beaten by the god of death. Disbanded. However, when they ran to the top of the tower, they encountered a god of destruction named Valkyrie who was painting, and the god of death accidentally shot Valkyrie's painting while attacking Seiya, making her angry. Mad and rushed to punch each other with it. Valkyrie realized that all normal attacks had no effect on the ghoul, so she used an ultimate skill called Valhalla's Gate to destroy it, and after being beaten locked in the gate, the monster was pierced by dozens of iron spikes. After using the Valhalla Gate, the person performing the move will have to trade his life, but the gods are immortal, so Valkyrie's life is not affected at all. Seiya asked Valkyrie to teach him the Valhalla Gate skill to destroy the Demon Lord, and everyone was worried that mortals like Seiya would die if they used that move, but seeing Seiya's determination, Valkyrie agreed to his offer. While Seiya was training at the Valkyrie, Alulu and Mash went to Arya, and she helped Mash transform into a full dragon. As soon as they finished their training, everyone immediately returned to Rosalie's father's kingdom, and the last of the 4 heavenly kings was leading an attack on their capital. However, Rosalie's father as well as the king of this kingdom defeated the 4 heavenly kings with ease, and with one slash of his own he succeeded in wiping out the entire Demon Lord army. People wondered why someone as strong as Rosalie's father wouldn't go to defeat the Demon Lord, as they were surprised to see him transformed into a child. Turns out, every time he used too much magic power, Rosalie's father would shrink, so he couldn't leave the capital to subjugate the Demon King. When going to the city, Rista invited everyone to go to a casino to have fun, but Seiya never played those games. Rosalie was surprised to learn that the holy armor was destroyed by the Demon Lord army, and Rosalie let everyone know that her father actually went to subjugate the Demon Lord, but he was caught. It was the Demon King's curse that made me turn into a child. Soon after, everyone went to see Rosalie's father, who was also the king of this country, and all the 4 heavenly kings were annihilated, so Seiya decided to attack the demon's lair. While they were talking, they suddenly received news that the Demon King's army was attacking again, so Seiya and the 2 children had to go out to fight them, while the king led the way. Rista goes to visit the city's temple. The king said that when he died, immortal gods like Rista would be resurrected in the god world, and heroes like Seiya would be sent back to his old world. But the Demon King had succeeded in creating a god-slaying sword capable of completely taking their lives. After the previous failed subjugation of the Demon King, the king completely surrendered to him, and he used the god-slaying sword and created magic chains to control Rista, but just as he was about to after finishing Rista, luckily, Seiya was there in time to save her. As it turned out, Seiya guessed that the king might have submitted to the Demon Lord after his defeat, so he and the others quickly returned here to rescue Rista. Right after that, the king took a pill given by the Demon Lord to become younger, and after gaining new powers, he was able to fight on par with a hero like Seiya. Seiya had removed all of the weights in his hands to increase his combat speed, but the king was still able to keep up with his attack speed. Seiya and the king decided to use a fatal blow to end the battle, and he successfully stabbed the king in the chest and defeated him in an instant. After being defeated, the king turned back into an old man like before, and Rosalie didn't want to accept a father who sold his soul to the Demon King like him, but Seiya slapped Rosalie and arrested her. Had to talk to his father one last time. Rosalie listened to Seiya and hugged her before he died, and the entire population of the kingdom held a funeral for the king a few days later. Seiya had suggested that everyone go out together around the city to clear their minds, so they were surprised because he had never known what a game was. The Rista who planned to do it invited Seiya to take a hot spring bath, so Rista and the 2 children went to a clothing store in the city to buy swimsuits. That afternoon, everyone returned to the castle as promised with Seiya to hang out together, but they waited forever without seeing Seiya anywhere, so they went everywhere in the city to see Seiya. Looking for Seiya out of concern for him. Rista immediately went to the god realm to ask the supreme god Ishtar to help her find Seiya, and she informed her that Seiya went to the Demon King's castle alone to destroy him, because he didn't want you his friends must die in the face of the Demon King. Ishtar also said that after defeating the Dragon Queen, Seiya had reached the maximum level, so he practiced god skills when he knew he couldn't get stronger anymore. Arya said that actually 100 years ago she also summoned Seiya as a hero for a B rank world, and that he had an extremely sloppy personality, not as careful as he is now. Seiya always rushed straight into the heart of concentration without any calculation, even though he was severely injured he continued to fight the enemy. Seiya's girlfriend and companion at that time was Princess Tiana, and she always felt very uncomfortable with Seiya's disorganized fighting style. In the final battle with the Demon King, their party successfully defeated him, but they didn't expect this Demon King to have 2 lives, so the entire party members Seiya's were all swallowed by him. Princess Tiana, who was pregnant with Seiya's child, was also killed by him, and as soon as Rista heard that, she suddenly remembered that Tiana was her previous life, but after reincarnating as a goddess, the whole story her memories of her previous life had all been erased. After understanding everything, Rista decided to go to the Demon King's castle to help Seiya, and Mash and Alulu also asked to come along to support him. Rista opened the portal that led everyone inside the Demon King's castle, and Seiya and the Demon Lord were having a fierce battle, but Rista panicked when he saw Seiya getting ready to use the Valhalla Gate. The Demon King was quickly imprisoned by Seiya inside that gate, and after he was fatally stabbed by the spikes, the gate was slowly closed. However, the Demon King showed up and tried to get out of the gate, so Seiya had to use a series of swords to push him right inside. Right after that, Seiya was hit by the Valhalla Gate's counterattack on her, and Rista regretted that she couldn't help Seiya in her previous life, so this time Rista used her full strength. Myself to heal him. After trying for a while, Rista successfully saved Seiya from death, and Rista rushed to hug Seiya as soon as he woke up. Thinking that everything was over, they suddenly discovered that the Valhalla Gate had not disappeared, and the Demon King had destroyed the gate and slowly came out to attack everyone, so Seiya had to do it. Show the Valhalla Gate skill once more. During the second cast, Seiya created a portal much larger than the previous one, and it swallowed the first gate with the Demon King into eternal nothingness. However, after using the second gate, Seiya's body was split open, and Rista's magic couldn't heal him anymore. Seiya had instructed Alulu and Mash to protect the world on his behalf, and at this moment he was happy to realize that Rista was the afterlife of Princess Tiana. But his body vanished into thin air to everyone's grief. Thanks to Seiya's exploits, the humans of this world were able to live in peace, and although she hated Seiya as much as Rosalie was grateful for his merits, the two dragonborn children were not. Was given the title of Royal Knight by Rosalie to protect the country. After returning to the god world, Rista was called by the supreme god Ishtar to meet her, and this time she wanted to entrust Rista to save the world that Seiya had failed before, but now the world that became a hell on earth where the Demon King ruled. However, Ishtar announced that she would send a special hero to accompany Rista, and Rista was surprised to learn that the hero was Seiya. Thank you for watching the full video review. Don't forget to press the subscribe button along with the bell button to receive notifications when the channel releases new videos.